What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another K-Dubs review. Today we're going to be talking about Arc Raiders and the top 5 reasons that I think this game is going to fail and it's not going to last. So these aren't just my reasons either. I went through and looked at a lot of comments on my last video, and this is what a lot of people are saying, not just on my comment section, but a lot of people's. This is what a lot of people are saying. So starting out with reason number 1 we got is the PvP. So apparently this game, I didn't know much about this game going into it, but apparently this game was just meant to be like a co-op game. You go in, there's like, you just fight the robots and stuff, and there's some other players to play with, and you go through and complete missions and stuff like that. But somewhere along the line, they kind of switched up the core principle of the game, and they threw in this PvP so that, it would gain a little bit of attention, because most extraction shooters like Tarkov, for example, have PvP in them, and they want to be a little more relevant. So that's kind of what they did. They threw PvP in as like a little attention grab, and you can kind of tell. You can kind of tell this. I got a lot of comments about it, but the PvP it feels very boring. It doesn't feel like they put too much effort into the PvP. It just feels like a thrown-in aspect. So we got a comment right here saying, everything is fantastic except the other players. I genuinely have never had a worse or bad feeling time with a game due to PvP. It's too much effort to get a good loadout to lose to a team with free loadouts. Then your free loadouts runs out of ammo halfway into a fight. I do gotta agree with what this guy says. From playing the game for a while, I did realize it does feel like you're constantly having to just sit there and craft weapons nonstop, and the amount of ammo you have and the amount of stuff you can carry, you just lose it very fast. I do agree with that point as well, and yeah, with what he said about the players. Now let's go ahead and hop into reason number 2. So for reason 2, this is what I think is probably one of the bigger deals for me. This is the biggest reason, really. The core gameplay loop. We got a lot of people talking about the core gameplay loop. So this is like the basic stuff you do every game, the missions, just the looting and all that, just the basic grind of the game. The basic grind of the game is not fun, right? And a lot of people are making the point, no matter how many maps you add into the game, no matter how many guns there are, whenever the full game comes out, if the base ideal of the game's not fun, the whole game's not going to be fun, right? And that's true, because if you look at a game like Black Ops 7, for example, they can bring back Nuketown, they can bring back all the other stuff, but if the gunplay, the grind of the game, if the just principle there is not fun, it doesn't matter what they add in, right? It doesn't matter how many maps you make. You got to have the fundamental principle of the game's got to be good. So we got some comments here saying, nice one. Judge the game on a test with 25% of the content of the last test. The core gameplay loop is the same. Laughing my A off. This is the game. See, a lot of people understand this. We also got a comment saying, open beta is meant to be reviewed. If a game is not fun for someone in the demo, 90% of the time it would not be fun in the full version. I agree with that completely. I do. Doesn't matter how much content is left to be added, if the core gameplay loop is not entertaining to someone, more of the same content won't change it. You might enjoy the game, and that's fine. The game has a lot of potential, but it needs everyone's opinions to make it stronger, not just praise. So yeah, I do agree with what that guy's saying. There's a lot of praise. And also, another thing I want to point out that a lot of people don't realize, there's a lot of these games nowadays, like I noticed Borderlands does it. I noticed a lot of games do it. They pay for streamers to play them. Like that Shroud guy, for example. I've seen him get paid. They get paid, these streamers, to make reviews and positive content about games, They get paid for that crap. So a lot of people are going to be faking it and overhyping it just because they get paid, man. They get paid good to do that. So, you can't take everybody's opinion on the game. People love to overhype things and look past the flaws. I don't think the game's completely terrible. I think there's good aspects to the game, but it's definitely got a lot of mistakes. let's head into the next reason. So the next one we got for reason number 3 is the fighting is very boring. And we got a guy saying, I agree with your pros and cons of the game. What I think really kills the game is the poor gunplay. For a game with such rich environment, it feels so generic and Fortnite-ish. I definitely agree with what this guy says about the rich environment. This game's got an outstanding world. The world that you're in is super cool. It's freaking awesome. It's an awesome world. I give it credit for that. It feels good, looks good, sounds good. But yeah, when it comes to the fighting, feeling like Fortnite, I do see what he's saying there. The fighting is very boring. Like even fighting the robots, for example, it just feels like you're just shooting at them. Like there's not much to it. Freaking sometimes I'd be shooting at a robot, and if you don't hit the certain area, you have to put in, like I was using a shotgun and I had to put in like 10 shots on one robot to destroy it. And just the whole like gunplay, it's just not too much to it. You know, it just feels very boring, just shooting at stuff. There's not too many factors, not too many skill gaps to learn. It definitely just feels like you're just shooting at stuff. There's not much else to it. You don't really have to think that much about it. You just aim in and shoot. I do agree with this. And the PvP combat is even worse. It feels like crap, the PvP combat. So yeah, that's reason number 3. Let's get into reason number 4. Reason 4 is kind of a goofy one, but it's also a very valid point. We got a comment saying, fair review, my eyes opened when I remembered that it is not free. So I agree with that. I will say that the game only being $40 instead of $70, that's really awesome. That's a really good aspect. But the game not being free, this doesn't feel like a really paid experience. It just doesn't. It feels like it should have been a free game, to be honest. It feels left out, and I think that's probably why they lowered the price instead of having it as a full game, because even they know it doesn't feel like a full game. So yeah, I do think that's going to hurt the player count a little bit, of course, you know, but that will probably help with cheating and stuff. There will probably be less cheaters because of that. So that is a decent little reason. You know, it's not a free-to-play game. I know, not the biggest reason. You know, you can say that for about any game. But yeah, let's get into reason number 5. Reason number 5 is my own reason. No comments about this. But it's just something that I think would have helped the game a lot. I think this would have helped the game a lot. I feel like this game could have benefited from having more of a storyline. A little more of a storyline. Instead of just a mindless... If you've ever played games, for example, I've mentioned in my last video, DMZ. The storyline sucks. You're just dropping in, you're looting stuff, and you're extracting, and that's what the missions are. That's all the missions are. The missions don't feel like actual missions. They just feel like, go here, get this item, extract. And that's what this game feels like. You know, that's how the missions feel on here. It also kind of, if you've ever played Fortnite Save the World, it feels like Fortnite Save the World missions, which is exactly the same. It's not a very immersive storyline at all. It just isn't. And, you know, in order for a game to be good, you know, whenever I was first seeing this cutscene in the beginning of the game, I was like, okay, this looks cool. Who are all these characters? Is this a spot I can go to? Is this like an area I can go see? And then I realized it's just a menu. It's just a menu. Like all these NPCs you go to trade, like you go to a trade shop. It's just like a little screen. It's not an actual place you go to. I feel like, you know how in Destiny you got the safe hub. It's called the tower. I feel like this game could have benefited from something like the tower, where you go there, there's other players walking around, you could trade items, stuff like that. You could buy stuff from vendors, and there's actually vendors there. There's actually people there to talk to after you complete a mission. And, you know, you could buy stuff there. And it would have been cool. It would have been way cooler with something like that. They could have had the cutscenes could have been there for, like, after you complete a mission, you go there, you get a cool cutscene. Stuff like that. It would have helped out the storyline instead of just missions like, go here, turn a satellite dish on, extract. You know, that's boring. Or go here, kill 5 robots, you know, grab some parts, extract. That's not a cool mission. There's nothing to that. So yeah, those are the top 5 reasons that this game kind of sucks. You know, there's good aspects to the game, definitely is. I think some people will like this game, but as a full game to pay $40 for, I don't know, man. I don't think it's I don't know. I don't know. What do you guys think, though? Make sure to leave your comments below, man. We might do another review or something if you guys got some more comments. But yeah, man, make sure to subscribe for more game reviews and more gameplay. We play a lot of Call of Duty, Warzone, and stuff on this channel. And we'll probably be starting to play other games and reviewing them and stuff. But yeah, see you guys.